Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. I would apologise for it being a bit late, but I'm not gonna. You know, you get it when you get it, really. But we have about 6 albums to go through for this one, so I say we go through them as quickly as we can do. We begin with the debut, The Bites, with their first album, Squeeze. This is a band I heard about through a YouTube ad, good old YouTube ads, certainly surprising me. That song being called Do Me A Favour, which is probably still my favourite song on the album. I've said my favourite album on the record for some reason. I'm giving this album a B+, though. I think it's a really good bit of, like, throwback style, 80s leaning hair rock. It knows exactly what it wants to do, and what it wants to do is sex. There's a lot of songs just about sex and shagging a woman, or going to see a woman strip, or, yeah, there's not a lot of subtlety with it. In fact, Do Me A Favour is probably the least sexual song on the album, which might be why I like it, because it doesn't repeat the theme, but that aside, it's got some really good guitar work. I love the solos. I do wish there were more of this. The pacing is just like a lot of fun. It's a very fun album, very fun throwback album if you're into that sort of stuff. And the pacing serves that well. The production comes off as quite clean and really well done. It's on Earache Records, and they usually get good people for that. And performance-wise, really good stuff. I couldn't really find too much on who does what. I think the lead singer's name is Jordan Tyler, and he's got a ton of charisma. He also plays guitar on occasion as well. He actually does in the Do Me A Favour video. But yeah, if you want like a throwback style, sort of 80s-ish sounds, mostly about sex, give this one a go. Sex. We then go to Conquer Divide and their second album and first in 8 years, Slow Burn. So this is another band I heard about through a YouTube ad. I can't remember the name of the song. I think it was Welcome to Paradise. And I'm giving this one the lowest grade of the episode, but that is a B-. Now, I do think that the vocalists, because there's two of them, there's a clean singer and a screamy singer, they both do quite well. I do think the lyrical themes of anxiety and mental health are touched upon quite well. I think the production is kind of where it falls apart, because I think it tries to do maybe a little bit too much at times, but it still reins things in quite nicely. I think the pacing can... it feels a tiny bit weird in places, but it's still mostly well handled. And the instrumentation, I do like a lot of the riffs, to be honest. I think there's a lot of really good chunk to the riffs. I feel like the album can come off as a bit too clean at times with its more poppy side, but as we're going to talk about with an album later on, that's not always a bad thing. But I just wish that they could find the balance a bit more, but it's still a really good bit of modern-day sort of metalcore, post-hardcore stuff, especially with all-female members who are, as the Wikipedia site says, I don't have it open right now, but I remember what it says, which is members from Canada, the US, and the UK, so that's kind of dope, multinational shit. I can recommend it if you want some good all-female leaning metalcore with more than a dash of In This Moment influence, but Conquer Divide are still a band with their own identity, so give it a listen for that. Next we have the Japanese House with her second album, In the End It Always Does. Yes, I said her because the Japanese House is the real name of Amber Bain, who is not Japanese, she's English, and is not a house, she's a person. This is an indie pop album. I actually first heard about the Japanese House back in 2019 because of Crash Thompson. He recommended her last album, which was... I don't remember the name of it, and I didn't listen to it. But I'm giving this one a B. I do quite enjoy it. It's a good, charming bit of indie pop. It's sort of exactly what it says on the tin, really, you know? Really nice melodies, really good synth work. I like a lot of the little bits of guitar in it too, but it's definitely the synth and keyboard that carries it. There are nice lyrical themes about queer love and depression and sex on occasion, but not to the almost laughable extent of the Bites album. But it's woven quite nicely with some realistic feeling storytelling. There's some really good performances. Well, I say a really good performance from Amber herself. She's a really good singer. Production-wise, I think she handled that as well. Just very clean, organic feeling, and same with the pacing as well. Just has a really good flow and a really good vibe. So if you just want your nice vibey leaning indie pop, maybe, I recommend give this one a go. I will admit it could come off as maybe a little bit repetitive in terms of sound on occasion, but for what it does, it's still a very, very pleasant listen. Next, we have Jason Isbell in the 400 Unit, and their 8th album, I think it is, Weather Vanes. It's not really like I keep track of the numbers anymore. So this is actually the first time I've heard about Jason Isbell, and I'm giving this one a B+. I was initially not this warm to it, actually. I know this album's gotten like a lot of acclaim. It's a very folk rocky leaning Americana style album, and I do think the album kind of suffers from a lack of urgency, which it has very early in the album, but sort of peters out by the midway to end point. However, that's really not where the album's strength is, and that's not really why I like the album. I like the album for its storytelling. It is beautifully beautiful lyricism. about the pain of relationships and growing up and learning to redeem yourself as you grow older for past mistakes. And it's really well handled in that front. Jason Isbell himself is a really good vocalist. I like his guitar work too. Obviously, the 400 unit, his backing band, all do really good stuff. I like the banjo work. I like the keyboard work, solid organ stuff from time to time too. Yeah, no, this is just a really pleasant bit of Americana folk rocky sort of stuff. I like the pacing a lot. It does take a while to really settle into itself, but when it does, it's really nice. Production, again, very well sorted, very organic feeling, very good vibey sound. Instrumentally, there's not really a lot, but I do appreciate how much of a backseat it takes at times. I feel like it's a bit too much, maybe, but what it does achieve, it achieves quite nicely when it reaches the bigger moments of the album. I'm trying to think of things I haven't done. Production, structure... No, I've covered pretty much everything about it. Maybe, again, takes a while to settle into itself pacing-wise, but it's still really nicely done bit of this style of music, so if you like the style of music, and if you've heard of Jason Isbell, which you probably have because I didn't before this, this might be for you. Next we have McKinley Dixon with his fourth album, Beloved Paradise Jazz. Now, I did not know what to really expect from this one. This is one I did like at first. It's sort of the opposite of Jason Isbell's album, which I didn't like that one that much, but as I kept listening to it did grow on me. McKinley Dixon's album I liked, but then I fell in love with it. I'm giving it an A+. Yeah, this is just... It's been a really fucking good year for hip-hop, hasn't it? Like, Killer Mike, Grandson, Watsky, and McKinley Dixon. Just really good shit all across the board. I'm not kidding, there might be 4 hip-hop or rap-leaning albums in my top 30 this year. This album is fucking incredible. It is taken from the works of Toni Morrison, who was the first, I think, I could be wrong about this, the first black woman to be nominated for a Pulitzer and a Nobel Prize. She was a author primarily, and the Beloved Paradise Jazz is named after a series of books she wrote, which goes Beloved Jazz Paradise technically, but Beloved Paradise Jazz just rolls off the tongue better. And like McKinley Dixon did his fucking research and leans in really well to it, using it as a concept for modern day Black America, he himself obviously being black. It's really, really good storytelling, really good conscious leaning jazzy rap. It's a really fucking good style, and I really like how it's handled. McKinley's flow and his enunciation, more importantly, are really well told. His confidence and coolness and wordplay are incredible, and the lyrics actually touching upon those really strong themes about, Blackness America and how tough it is, especially right now. It really holds up, and it proves that not much has changed in I think Beloved came out almost 50 years ago now. I could be wrong about that, but Jesus Christ, McKinley is on fucking point here. It's not just his performance that's really good, there are a lot of really nice guest spots, but it is mostly McKinley just leading the charge. He's got so much charisma, and again, an undeniable call factor to him, and the album sound has that too. There's a really good amount of beats. I love how they're mixed with the saxophone and other jazzy elements. They're all done really well. We're going to have the lyrics a lot. I've gone over McKinley's performance a lot. Production wise, just fantastic. Love how it just sounds. It just sounds really cool. Like you're at a party, like you're at a good poetry party and you're just chilling with a coffee. I don't even drink coffee that much, but it's just the vibe it gives off. And structurally wise, it's only about 28 minutes and about 40-ish seconds long. It's not really a long album, but it gives so much in the little time it has. And this is McKinley's 4th album. I might have to go back over his old stuff if it's anything half as good as this. This is fucking great. It's my biggest recommend. And finally, we go to the only band on this list I've actually covered before, Point North, with their 3rd album, Prepare for Despair. So yeah, I covered their last album. I don't remember the name of it, but thanks to text, it'll pop up about this point. I'm giving this one an A- though. Second I scored the episode, I really quite liked a lot of the elements of it. It was one that I was initially a bit more crazy over, but as I did keep listening to it, I was like, yeah, do I like it? Then I listened to it again, I was like, nah, actually, no, yeah, I do. I really do like this album. Just really solid, pop-leaning, post-hardcore emo stuff. I love how it's handled. From a songwriting standpoint, it does mostly focus on the themes of anxiety and depression in a post-pandemic world. It feels weird to keep saying post-pandemic world in 2023, but I don't think it's something we're exactly going to get over anytime soon. I think the performances are really good too. I like the lead singer, he does a really good job. His range is really goddamn good. Instrumental wise, it's got a lot of really good chunk to the riffs. I just noticed my hair there. A lot of really good punch to the riffs, and I like the drum especially, but the guitar is probably the best thing when it comes to the instrumentation about this album. Some good bass as well, obviously. Performance, I've already gone over performances and lyrics. Production wise, very big and loud, and it was handled by Carl Black, and it's nice to see his name pop up because I'm a huge fan of Carl Black's production style. He just brings out a lot in the sound and in the mix, makes it sound really big and strong, and he's good. And structurally wise, again, not overly long for an album, but again, got a lot of really good stuff for it. I feel like a couple of the songs can cut off at certain points that might feel too early. The intro track is a good example of that, but you know, despite the weirdness of the flow at points, it's still got a lot of really good pacing, a lot of really nice build-up. Also, that guest spot with Jonathan Vigil from The Ghost Inside is fucking nice. So, yeah, no, go give this one a spin too. And that'll about do it for the 6 albums from bottom to top. It will go Conquer Divide with Slow Burn, The Japanese Host within the End It Always Does, Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit with Weather Vanes, The Bites with Squeeze, Point North with Prepare for Despair, and McKinley Dixon number 6 with Beloved Paradise Jazz. But as always, go listen to all of these at least once, especially McKinley Dixon's new one. It's kind of fucking great. And formulate your own opinions about them, because that is what makes this shit kind of interesting. Next thing I'll see you for will probably be tomorrow. Maybe a reaction. I don't really know what I'm going to react to. I've got options, I can say that much. And also, yeah, the Go Home Show, PPW vs AVW, because next Friday is going to be Harsh Environment. And I've got a logo for that. I've got to work on the arena, but it will be done. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we're only one pay-per-view away from Defy the Gods, because that's the next pay-per-view after Harsh Environment. Weird to think that we've come this far. But I'll see you all tomorrow for those 2 things, the reaction and the weekly show, the Go Home Show. Going to be a lot of good shit. And as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.